This is a special place I like to come to. It's only about 2 k's down from the farm where I live. So let me tell you a bit about myself. My name is Richard Coombs. I'm 47 years old and I was born in South Africa in 1973. Back then, there was still a lot of political unease, apartheid, as I'm sure most of you have heard of. But I was born and grew up in what was called a homeland. And homelands were like protectorates within the country itself, which were kind of pseudo-separate countries, and they had their own black governments. But they were still controlled by the South African government. But it did mean that I had a different upbringing to other South Africans. At schools, there were black and white kids. At my school, there were plenty of kids from all over the world. I had American friends, I had Ghanaian friends, Polish friends. It was in a small school, it wasn't terribly big. A lot of their parents came for big contracts like engineering works, and they taught at the university as well. So yeah, for me that was quite different. And I bounced around, well, my family and I did, between a sort of medium-sized city, small city, medium-sized town, and the coastline of this area, which was called the Wild Coast. And it was so named because it really is wild. Many ships have been lost over the years along that section of coast. With very steep, ragged cliffs and short beaches, massive crashing waves. But very little development, mostly old cottages. Our house was, now it would be well over 100 years old, which in South African terms is a very old house. And there was, even to this day, people can't buy land there. It's basically a protectorate, a section of coast about 300 kilometers long, which is owned by the community. And you would pay an annual levy, which I think it's still like that. I certainly hope so. And in so doing, this kept the place as natural as possible and the ecosystems as pristine as possible. Nothing is perfect, of course. I mean, there's always problems with poachers and illegal trafficking of all sorts of seafoods and that kind of thing, but it was about as good as it got. And I think to a large degree I miss that in my older age, and part of this new life that I'm constructing for myself is kind of a response to missing my childhood. Things felt good and felt right then. Maybe it does for every person. But for most people that I meet, their adulthood seem to be consistent with their childhoods, whereas I feel like a duck out of water. And yeah, really want to go back to that and hopefully get some more childhood feelings along the way. It's been good so far, but it's difficult to break away and make a big change. Family and friends don't often understand, and you're seen as an outcast. At times they're very excited, but at other times I think rather that you were a bit more conventional. Makes you easier to explain. So this is part of my philosophy of what I'm doing. I'll throw these in every now and again to let you know how I'm feeling and how I'm doing. But yeah, we are nature, and that's where I'm headed. I hope you enjoyed this philosophical trip down memory lane. If you did, please subscribe to my new channel, Drazzle the Green African.